Kyabram had multiple forward options, and when Tongala recruit Luke McGill marked in gold inside the opening minute, the signs were ominous. Midfielder Chris Atkins gathered possessions at will and slipped inside 50 to provide further scoreboard pressure. Although former Northern Bullants forward Paul Colbert did his best to keep the visiting Lions in touch. The Bombers midfield continued to run hard to good effect.
45, 40, closing, kick on goal! Great goal, Josh Powell! Came back beautifully from right to left.
Paul Newman's influence on the contest was again evident, the high-flying Bomber bagging 3 majors. Brother David Newman was lively inside the arc and kicked his side out to a 34-point quarter-time advantage. Bernie Haberman implored his players to lift.
The cornerstones of our game. Pressure and accountability, is that understood? Yes, okay, let's come in at half-time, looking at each other and I know that we've done that. Let's go.
But while Saad was his typically productive self with 6 majors, it was the Bombers prevailing by 28 points. The Swans overwhelmed Mooroopna at Princess Park despite the Cats breaking away to an early 18-point advantage. Glenn Dundervik proved dangerous for the Swans, kicking 2 of his 5 majors in the opening term, while Matthew Jackson was a prolific possession gatherer through midfield. Brad Campbell impressed for Mooroopna, and Robbie Osborne battled hard, proving his side's most potent forward to finish the game with 6 majors. Heading into the last, Peter White encouraged his side to build on a slender 1-point lead.
You've got to be involved, you've got to be talking, you've got to be working.
And with Damien Uze on fire, building 5 last quarter goals, the Swans were able to claim victory by 16 points. In the only other game, David Putamorsi's Euroa proved too good for Benalla on Saturday night, winning by 14 points. Dominant through midfield and devastating up forward, it was a welcome return to the Bulldogs for the talented Kirby. Tim Little played the perfect complement with 4 majors of his own. The Demons had few answers as the Dogs continued to bombard the forward 50, leaving Mark Quarrell to lament his side's momentary lapses.
It just can't work like that. All right, you know you've got to work hard for 30 minutes to be any good in this game.
Trent Frere was sensational despite his side's loss, 4 goals capping his 37 possession game, prompting Paul Serra to demand his side finish strongly.
First of all, number 1, let's make sure we take control. First 8 minutes, be nice and tight. Let us just scrunch some goals out, make it a 10-goal contest, and then we've got an opportunity.
Tom Campbell battled hard in defence with 5 fourth-quarter marks. But with the likes of Alex Isalovic in devastating form cutting a sway through midfield, and simply too many options in attack.
2 on 1, and the one did all the work, and Little kicks the goal.
The Bulldogs had good cause for celebration. Despite a slow start, Rochester emerged victorious over a gallant Mansfield, while Shepparton and Echuca battled out a free-scoring game on the Murray. The visitors burst out of the blocks, Damien Uze's first of 3 goals coming in the opening minute. Although with the Bears producing a turn of speed into attack, they were quickly able to answer. The Swans capitalised on a Shepparton defensive error, Adrian Mecca making something from nothing to snare his side second, while unselfish play from Troy Snelson soon had another.
Quick handball away to the running man, it's shot on goal, through for a goal.
Undaunted, the Bears battle on, Braden Pullen finding space inside 50.
He'll snap it on goal, try and put it through for the Bears, and he has!
Although when Brian Durbridge kicked a goal in the shadows of quarter time, the Swans took a 7-point buffer into the break. Down 33-10 in handball receives, Peter White challenged his charges.
So we need to have more of the share in the footy, first option when we're running through the footy in the middle there.
While Richard Warburton implored his team to lift in centre clearances.
Make sure we're coming off the square into the contest and not letting your teammate lead in as well.
Gathering possessions at will, Brett Warburton was closing in on the 3 votes before succumbing to a serious ankle injury. However, with Mark Harrop, the game's premier big man, dominating around the ground while also slipping forward for 2 majors, the Bears went on to win by 19 points. In other games, Mansfield defeated Seymour and Paul Newman booted 7 as Kai thrashed Euroa. Tatura comfortably eclipsed Benalla, Rochester was too strong for Echuca, and Mooroopna ground down United. A minute's silence was the quiet before the storm. The Eagles burst out of the blocks with Simon Hart on target for the first major within the opening minute. A tenacious tackle from Seamus Herrick on Jamie Sheehan and then a 50-metre penalty saw the Murray Bombers answer from point-blank range. An Echuca defensive error just moments later further opened the door, and the visitors were again in the ascendancy.
Kick on the run, it's going to sail through for a goal. Mansfield make them pay. Brilliant finish from James Herridge.
And then with superior foot speed, Ben Millett stretched the Eagles' advantage to 12 points. Echuca's plight could have been far worse if not for the tireless work of big Brendan Prendergast in defence, while the likes of Liam Wilkinson crumbed to good effect to boot 2 for the home side. The Bombers sought to overcome the Eagles' defensive wall.
They've got a sort of bit of a zone now where they've got 2 or 3 blokes just sort of gathering together and picking everything off. If you get an opportunity to run the ball and kick it deeper, go deeper.
While Craig Kelly implored his team to build on its advantage.
You have a crack, you get the tackles, you do the team things that we've set up and we've been practising, and do not let them in this game. Do not let them in this game.
Despite Echuca's desperation, the Eagles went on to win by 37 points. In other games, Sard kicked 7 as Seymour demolished Euroa, while Mooroopna overcame a gallant Benalla by just 9 points. The Deakin Reserve Derby went Shepparton's way by 57 points. Tatura claimed a 17-point success over Kyabram, and Rochester's battle with the Swans saw the reigning premiers hold on by 22. Poor kicking sabotaged Kyabram's game early on. Just 2 goals produced from 10 first-quarter scoring opportunities. Brad Campbell demanded the Cats not overhandle the football.
When it's at a Tottis in the centre clearance here, you get your hands on the footy, let's get it going forward, all right? We can't afford to be dodging 3 or 4 tackles. Someone's going to nail us in the end, so we're just going to get the ball on the boot.
Russell Lee demonstrated his versatility, a prolific possession winner through midfield, along with slipping forward for second and fourth-quarter goals. Ty Parsons played a stunning cameo, chiming in with some valuable possessions along with a 5-goal haul. While it was Big Osborne who benefited most from the Cats' slick movement inside 50, bagging 4 second-quarter majors on the way to a game-high 6.
Middle, Robbie Osborne gets number 3, and they extend the margin out to 19 points.
However, the Bombers battled back. Xavier Hilton showing his class from tight up against the boundary.
With a terrific kick, Hilton gets the goal.
Just moments later, and Kai had another. Youngster Liam Ogden the beneficiary as the Cats faltered on the last line. And when Paul Newman booted the first of 3, the Bombers were coming.
Into an open goal around Bell and kicks the goal. Bombers back in front.
However, with the Cats fluent through midfield and Osborne leading strongly, the home side was able to go on and win by 54 points. Elsewhere, Tatura easily accounted for Euroa and Seymour overcame Echuca. David Mensch kicked 8 as Mansfield finished strongly over the Swans. Shepparton was too good for Benalla and Rochester claimed the points against the Demons. A 5-goal-2 opening term saw Tatura lay the foundation to an impressive 46-point win over Seymour. Big Paul Kirby was the star for the Dogs, the resting ruckman outpointing his rivals to boot 4 goals, while Billy Hicks was just one of the Tatura teenagers to impress across 4 terms. Link Wellington was back to his prolific possession-gathering self, constantly driving the Dogs into attack and spotting up options inside forward 50, with Alex Isalovic ultimately rewarded for his hard running. Tatura's walking contradiction, Big Tim Little, was also threatening deep in attack. And while at the other end the Lions were forced to work hard for their goals, the human highlight reel Sard didn't disappoint his many fans, finishing the day with 6 majors. Brendan Liddell battled on to boot 3 for the visitors, but it was the Dogs prevailing 2016 to 14-6. A 250-game milestone for stalwart Matty Mills looked likely to provide inspiration for the Magpies, with the visitors drawing first blood, courtesy of teenager James Ivel, within the opening minute. Shepparton bounced back quickly, an error in attack failing to prevent Matt Powell from finding the big sticks. Although when Brett Jarks read the fall of the ball best, the Magpies were again out to a 6-point advantage. The Bears' lead-up forwards provided a headache for Euroa's defence, with Brett Vallender and John Walker booting 5 and 4 goals respectively, while Clark was in stunning touch, gathering possessions at will to send the home side forward. Clever improvisation from small forward Craig Bamford paved the way for another Euroa goal, this one from long range. And when Jarks stormed into goal to boot his second of the term, the Magpies were out to a 7-point advantage at quarter time.
That was good quarter, Curdy. Good attack on the footy. Right, a lot better. Keep giving us that run. Give us that drive. Give us that run. Give us that drive.
We've got to lift, boys. I'm sure we can. All right, we'll get better, but get in them, hands on the footy, have the blocks there, get it in quickly, shots on goal. All right?
While Mills rose high in a quest to spark his team, it was the likes of Brad Ridings that paved the way for an 11-goal-1 second half, with the Bears winning by 85 points. In other games, a 10-goal-0 second half saw Tatura prevail over Mooroopna and the Swans defeated Seymour. Echuca claimed the points against United, Mansfield easily accounted for Benalla, and Kyabram caused the boil over of the round with an 18-point defeat of Rochester. A minute's silence marked a tribute for the VCFL's bushfire remembrance round before hostilities began in earnest, with hard-running Alex Isalovic finding Cameron True an inside 50, with the big man Julie converting for the Bulldogs' first goal of the contest between the competition's top two sides. Nick Allen was outstanding through midfield for the Bears, repeatedly gathering possessions and driving his side forward. Big Mark Harrop rose above the pack to provide an aerial highlight. Although despite his best efforts, John Walker was unable to follow suit. The hard-running Ed Clark was another player instrumental in the visitors' success, on this occasion pumping the visitors forward, with Walker and the exquisitely skilled Rowan Hiscock combining to answer from the pocket for the Bears. The Dogs demanded accountability.
They're prepared to run from behind the play. If there's a catch here, what do? They'll run from behind. So forwards, get in and block them and stop them from doing that.
Clark edged forward to share the goal-kicking spoils with 3, while Tom Durwood provided a terrific focal point to boot 4 majors, along with 5 from his teammate Trewin. But sadly for the Dogs, a wayward shot from Bill Hicks after the Sirens saw them defeated by a point. Mooroopna proved too strong for Seymour, and Rochester comfortably accounted for Euroa. The Swans won by 19 points. Jordan Florence booted 9 goals as Echuca crushed Benalla, and Paul Newman's 8-goal haul was the catalyst to Kyabram's defeat of Mansfield. Benalla ventured to Princes Park, and the Swans' form saw them career away with Adrian Mecca booting 4 goals against the Saints, with the Swans' midfield dominance producing a 59-point advantage by the half-time break. Damien Uze was the star of the show with another classy display to boot 10 of the home side's 20 goals, although a resurgent third and fourth quarters by Tim Symes' Young Saints combination saw them kick 9 majors to eventually go down by 60 points to the Shepparton Swans.
The second half was good, stuck to our guns in the second half, yeah. We went a bit more defensive, which worked well. Our running out of the back line was a lot better.
Standing coach Brett Warburton was nonetheless delighted.
As I said to the boys, it's going to be a tough day. With the conditions the way they are, we just have to do the basics well, and that's what they did.
In other games, a late Luke Sophie major gave Mooroopna a thrilling 5-point win over Shepparton, and Rochester proved too accomplished for ladder leader Tatura. David Mensch booted 9 as Mansfield thrashed Euroa. Seymour was too good for United, and a terrific 10-goal haul from Paul Newman was the key to Kyabram's success over Echuca. Despite a recent battle with soft tissue injuries, dynamic midfielder Ash Watson was back to his hard-running best, providing some valuable drive as the visitors sought to snare the early advantage. Although it was the Cats' Russell Lee who broke through for the opening major, the first of 3 as the game's most productive forward. Although with Ben Dusha winning his share of the ball and the Tigers owning the corridor, Rochester was able to answer within minutes. The battle between Guy Campbell and Robbie Osborne was a feature of the contest, with the big Tiger taking the spoils and containing the Cats forward to just 1 major, while at the other end the muscular Ben Anderson provided a front 50 target and shared the goal-kicking spoils with Elliot Bowen with 2. Defender Luke Trevina maintained his recent rich vein of form with an effective sweeping role for the Cats, although a late first-term major from Sam Brennan contributed to a 22-point advantage at the initial break, prompting a challenge from Brad Campbell.
Right, we go with the man, he's got the footy, we've got to wrap him up a lot harder than that, all right? So that's what's going to get us back into the game, just the way we tackle, the way we hold him up.
However, Bowen proved the difference with 2 goals for Rochester, along with a critical behind as the final siren sounded to give the Tigers victory and the 4 premiership points. In the round's 2 other games, a best-of-field performance from Tyson Sidebottom inspired United's breakthrough win over Benalla, and Kyabram emerged from an even first half to overwhelm the Swans by 92 points. The next generation Bears were on hand in the hope of sparking a revival, the Deakin Reserve tenants facing a 62-point deficit at the main break. Ed Clark responded immediately, the midfield regular slipping forward to become Shepparton's most potent option with 3 majors. Although when Seymour star Saad wasn't booting goals himself, he was setting them up for the likes of teammate Paul Colbert. Having lost Mark Harrop and Matt Campbell to injury early, skipper Nick Allen sought to mount a fight back and was instrumental in his side winning the 3rd term. However, on cue, the Lions midfielders combined to provide the necessary answer to the home side's inquiries. Despite battling a groin strain, the burly Clark continued to throw down the gauntlet to the Lions defenders. And when the Bears scrambled a goal through the agency of Allen, the home side was closing. Returning from the Bendigo Bombers, midfielder Paul Scanlon was outstanding for Seymour with a wealth of possessions, while two-way football became the focus.
Play on, run, get it deep to our forwards, hit the front and centre. And then when it turns over, we work back harder than they do.
And with 8 goals apiece from Colbert and Sard, the Lions had cause to celebrate a 91-point win.
We are the mighty fighting Seymour. We are the good old Seymour Lions.
In other games, veteran Matthew Mills starred as Euroa shocked Echuca by 33 points, while teenagers Chris Ryan and Bill Hicks kicked 4 goals apiece as Tatura defeated Mansfield by 44. The first was a fairly even affair, both sides beginning the push up the ladder. Damien Uze came out firing, picking up the crumbs and dancing around the Magpies' defence for a major. The Pies' Adam Brayshaw hit back with the turnover. A cheeky chip had Euroa on the run in space. Craig Bamford took a strong grab on the half-forward flank. He sized up Andrew Doxey at full forward. Despite the good work, the Pies failed to capitalise. But they seemed to spark. A juggling act from Jamie Elliott had the Pies pushing again for a much-deserved major. It was third time's a charm as Clay Giovannini took up the challenge. Trailing 3-2 to 4-5 at the break, Brett Warburton warned the Swans against more of the same.
On ball, we just need to just be wary pushing back, all right? They're on balls pushing back into our forward line and trying to clear it up, and then they're breaking hard, okay? Okay, so our work rate needs to improve right now. Okay.
Meanwhile, Euroa had the lead and was hoping to keep it.
Keep working hard around stoppages. Half time, let's be 3 or 4 up.
In the second quarter, Swan Tom Priest came out firing. This long effort touched on the line. The Pies hit back. A scrappy chase and right foot snap from Hayden Saville extended the margin. But the reply from the Swans came quickly with a long bomb from Uze's right boot. Jason Rochelli also had something to write home about as the Swans kept themselves in the contest. But when the Pies were just too good, a left foot effort on the wing from Matthew Mills showed why. Euroa ran away 18-point winners. In other results, Rochester ran home over Shepherd and Mansfield thumped the Cats. Echuca was a narrow winner over Tatura, Seymour drubbed Benalla and Kyabram was a 12-point winner over United. The match was hotly contested, with the Lions out to avenge last season's grand final loss. But the Tigers showed form. Brodie Montague spied strongman Elliot Bowen on the lead. Bowen delivered to Matt Letcher in the hot spot. Letcher's attempt fell just short of the sticks, touched over the line. Seymour set up looking for excitement machine Sard with a strong spoil in the goal square. He was awarded and snatched a major. Seymour had plenty of work to do in the third. The Tigers were leading by 19 points. In the centre, Rochester big man Guy Campbell cleaned up the crumbs as the pack looked on. He sprinted into action to feed Chris McCarty sitting solo in the goal square. At the other end, Carl McCarthy replied in similar fashion. A thrilling solo effort found the speedster in space. Happy to see the ball through for a much-needed 6 points. While on a roll, Seymour pushed back into its goal square. A Sard special helped lift the side and close the gap to just 2 goals. Rochester could feel the pinch.
Now it's up to us. We've got no bench, so we've got to work real hard. Got to run smart.
As for the Lions, they had the win within reach.
Come on, you're not gasping for us at the end. You haven't worked hard enough, boys. And I know we're good enough to do that.
Rochester had no answer and Sard fired another to close the gap. The Lions walked away winners by 4. In the round's other matches, Mansfield romped home over the Bears. Marupna beat Echuca. Tatura and United had solid wins, as did the Bombers. 1 minute of silence to fallen officers for the annual Blue Ribbon Clash. After the bounce, the Cats weren't silent for long. Joel Sophie snapped up the advantage for the game's first. The Swans found themselves across half forward. They had the numbers, but the Cats were clever. The Cats pounced Kane Boyer with strong hands outside 50. Boyer spied Rob Osborne on the lead. Osborne lined up but missed to the right. It wasn't long before the Cats got it right.
Matty Hebbard tries to take it away, but the Cats together and a quick kick on goal, and the Cats have got their second.
The Swans replied through Brian Durbridge. The Cats' Nathan Bovalino was in form. A 50-metre free and the Cats' third was a certainty. It continued as the Cats dug in their claws.
Shot on goal, getting back there is Osborne again. Plays on and went bang. See you later. Thanks for the memories.
The Cats ran out winners 151 to 61. Meanwhile at Deakin, Echuca lined up with the Bears in sight. Tom McKittrick took a set shot from 50 and got the Murray Bombers off to a good start. Echuca's David Ismail sparked from the middle and found Aidan Walton in the forward line. He lined up Matt Pollock, and a 50-metre advantage gave Echuca another. Shep applied the pressure, trying to force a turnover, but the Bears failed to capitalise with some wayward kicking. Despite a decent effort in the centre, the Bears couldn't penetrate the forward line. They went down 137 to 113. In other matches, Rochester defeated Mansfield in a tough contest. Tatura, Seymour and Benalla also made the winners list. The home side burst out of the blocks, with Swan Jason Rachali making no mistake from a set shot, before big Shane Sarley emerged as a forward 50 threat, eventually going on to kick 7 goals for the Princes Park Tenants. Brian Durbridge was his typically effervescent self, gathering possessions prolifically and beating 2 goals as the Swans established a 20-point buffer at the first change. However, Bears mentor Richard Warburton challenged his charges.
All it takes, a couple of breaks, a couple of goals, unanswered goals, back in the game, off we go. That's what we need to have, why we need to look at it.
With the likes of Cullinan growing in confidence and gathering possessions at will, the visitors bounced back to lead at every other change and went on to win a thriller by 2 points. A 44-possession game from on-baller Russell Lee was the catalyst to Mooroopna's 60-point defeat of Shepparton United at Deakin Reserve yesterday. Tyson Warnett provided drive through the lines and didn't hesitate to slip forward as one of 8 goal kickers for the Cats, while defender Phil Carroll and emerging youngster Lewis O'Sullivan were among the Demons' most consistent four-quarter performers. A 4-goal haul from lanky Cat Marcus Dean saw him emerge as the game's most potent forward, while improving midfielder Kane Atkinson underlined his value to the Mooroopna lineup with 3 majors in a damaging display.
And the umpire says, "You little wing dinger."
The 10-goal win was cause for celebration despite injuries to Craig Whelan and Nathan Bovolino.
We take the 4 points every time we play United at Deakin, especially considering the situation today. We had a few injured blokes, didn't have much rotations happening on the bench. So in the end, yeah, great result.
In other games, Simon Hart booted 7 goals as Mansfield snapped Seymour's winning streak. Tatura overcame a determined Benalla, Kyabram was too strong for Euroa, and Rochester easily accounted for Echuca. Kyabram held the ascendancy at every change, dominance through the corridor instrumental in the win. The return of the talented Alex Isalovic provided the Bulldogs an obvious lift, although the Bombers were quick to seize on anything loose, with Link Withers dynamic through midfield. Weight of opportunities proved the difference, Kyabram benefiting from 5 apiece to Paul Newman, Scott Beattie and the exquisitely skilled David O'Sullivan. The Bombers suffered a blow midway through the 3rd term, with Beattie caught high and temporarily grounded. The gravity of the contest best exemplified when tempers flared. Tatura battled on, and when teenager Billy Hicks booted the 2nd of 2, the Bulldogs looked to be closing. And when big Paul Kirby marked strongly and made no mistake from an acute angle, the Dogs were able to reduce the 3-quarter time margin to just 10 points. The coaches implored accountability.
Every second, everything we do has got to be as clean as possible. Yes, we'll make a few mistakes, but if we're up and running, we'll have no mistakes.
Come on, get footy smarts. You've got to be on them because the only way it's coming out is through them and they're not going to kick to you.
Despite Kirby going on to kick 5 goals, the Bombers claimed the win by 24 points. Simon Hart kicked another 7 goals as Mansfield accounted for Echuca, and Rochester easily defeated the Swans. United overwhelmed their Deakin Reserve co-tenant. Mooroopna had a percentage-boosting win at Benalla's expense, and Euroa produced the surprise of the round despite 10 majors from Sard. When the returning Matt McCarty found Dale Sidebottom, the Swans were out of the blocks like a shot, leading by 13 points after the opening 5 minutes of the contest. Diminutive on-baller Brian Durbridge battled gamely for the Swans, gathering plenty of possessions through midfield. Although lightning-quick teenager Jamie Sheen was outstanding in creating opportunities for his Mansfield teammates.
Now goes with the hand pass away. The shot on goal is straight through the middle by Brett Marnie.
Marnie was just one of numerous Eagles to control the centre square, while Nick Gushin clocked up in excess of 40 touches as the visitors began to command the contest. Swans on-baller Mitch Cadell slipped forward to seize on a Mansfield defensive error to boot one of his 2 goals for the game. Although the visitors answered immediately through the work of Tim Demetriou.
A chance for the Eagles. The shot on goal is straight through the middle.
Star forward Damien Uze booted 4 for the Swans, with other forward options emerging.
He comes in now. His shot on goal is straight through the middle. A beautiful kick there by Shane Sarley.
Seeing the Swans lead by 5 points at the initial change. Craig Kelly demanded a lift in concentration.
You guys have got to manufacture that. That's got to come from your voice and your talk.
got to be the same time. It's the first gift.
While the Swans were upbeat.
Fantastic quarter. Okay, but it's only one quarter. Boys, come on. Back on. Let's go. Get your head.
But it was 9 goals from the Hart boys, spearheading the 80-point win.
Here's an opportunity for Simon Hart. He closes and he kicks a goal for the Mansfield Eagles.
In other games, Tim Hewitt starred as Shepparton overcame a gallant Benalla, and Sard side booted another 10 goals as Seymour thrashed Echuca by 86 points. It was a dominant display from the outset. Wade Damassi opening the Bombers' account with a major from a tight angle. Paul Newman was his typically acrobatic self, despite battling a niggling hamstring strain, while the Bombers' aerial skills were evident at both ends of the ground. Blake Campbell gathered possessions early, his form one of the few positive outcomes for the Cats, while Tyson Warnett was the visitors' most consistent across 4 terms. Mooroopna suffered a blow when sweeping defender Nathan Tweddle collided with Scott McCormack.
And Tweddle has gone to ground in a very heavy contact.
While the booking of Luke Trevina left the Cats a man down. Newman's 3 goals took his season's tally out to 63, while hard-running midfielder Scott Beattie ducked and weaved through goal-faced traffic to boot the first of 5 majors in a best-of-field display. Big Brad Mangan provided a presence in a return from the TAC Cup competition.
Foot has a shot on goal, and I tell you what, the goal umpire did not move.
Bomber midfielder Brad Vick contributed.
Stolen, shot on goal from Kai Abram, looks okay off the boot.
As the margin spread to 35 at the first break. The Cats were called to peg them back.
We need to start winning a bit more ball through the middle of the ground. We need to start applying a little bit more pressure, making the jobs on our backs a little bit easier, right?
But it was the host going on to dominate by 86 points.
Quick snap on goal from the Bombers. They've got another one.
A best on ground performance from Ben Dusha has steered Rochester to its 13th win of the season at Deakin Reserve. The Tigers looked to 9 different goal kickers in the emphatic 73-point success over Shepparton United. The only other game of the split round saw Jared Pollard star in Chichura's 18-point win over Euroa. The Lions started best, a creative crumbing major from Daniel Balston getting the hosts away to a flying start. The Dogs wasted no time in replying, 16-year-old James Sullivan receiving from Tim Little for the first of 4 goals. While small forward Paul Neville provided some punch inside 50, this goal stretching the Bulldogs' ascendancy further. The Lions looked for inspiration, and when Corey Mallory marked and played on to produce, the margin was back to just 8 points. Brendan Keast was in fantastic touch for the Dogs, while Paul Kirby outpointed numerous opponents to boot 3 first-term goals as the margin stretched to 26 points at the break. Paul Serra demanded a retention of effort.
Yeah, well done on the quarter. That's as far as it goes now. Let's forget about that and let's start again. We've talked about those things before the game. Consistency, didn't we? Consistency. Can we do it?
While the Lions called for accountability.
As I said before the game, boys, the game is going to be won and lost through the midfield. We cannot gamble. We cannot gamble in there. Man on man is man on man. If you're getting beaten and they're winning the tap-outs, then we have to adjust.
Big Cameron Truan benefited from a handy ricochet for his first, before using more conventional methods for his second, on the way to 4 for the game. Sard side booted 3 majors to retain leadership of the league goal kicking with 82, while Brendan Liddell was the Lions' most consistent contributor across the 4 terms. Midfielder Lee Owen was a dynamic influence, booting 2 goals in a best-of-field display, with the half-time buffer of 56 spreading to 67 points by the final siren. Andrew Doxey booted 7 goals as Euroa defeated Mooroopna and Rochester thrashed Benalla. Ross Hopkins starred as Mansfield crushed United, Kai Abram was too strong for Shepparton, and Echuca eclipsed the Swans. A minute's silence to honour the memory of the late Mick Pettifer was the calm before the storm on Saturday night, with the Bombers bursting out of the blocks with a major from David O'Sullivan to begin the top-of-the-table contest.
For a goal. He got it inside the post, so Kai Abram, 48 seconds, a flying start.
With multiple forward options, the Tigers were able to respond immediately. Ben Anderson marking and booting the first of 4 goals. Defender Guy Campbell was outstanding, penetrating the lines with run and carry to set up scoring opportunities for the likes of forward Heath Aitken. Aitken continued to make his mark, starting deep and leading strongly on the way to 4 majors, before Matt Letcher joined the party with the first of 5 goals.
Straight to that man, Letcher, snaps on goal on the right boot, and he puts it through.
A 4-goal deficit was a concern for Kai at the first break.
You know, they're counter-attacking, and it's coming into their forward line, and they've got time and space because we're not putting pressure on the opposition.
Elliot Bowen contributed a goal in each of the first 3 terms before a clash of bodies saw him leave the contest with concussion, while the Tigers' sharing of the ball saw them career away with a 75-point win.
Carl, he wants to move it on. He has a shot on goal. It's a lovely kick by Carl Oliver.
Sharpshooting Mooroopna won a hard-fought battle over Tatura, although the Cats lost Trevor Bell, Chris Shermer and Brad Orr to season-ending injuries. And Adam Bashevsky and Simon Hart starred as Mansfield thrashed Benalla. Meanwhile, skipper Tyson Sidebottom was a standout in Shepparton United's 11-point defeat of Echuca at Deakin Reserve. The Murray Bombers had their chances but wasted early opportunities in front of goal. And with the likes of a desperate Mark Quarrell leading from the front, the Demons were able to claim their 4th win of the season. Euroa maintained its rich vein of form by defeating Shepparton, and the Swans kept the battle for 6th alive by outclassing Seymour, with Damien Uze booting 9 goals. Seymour had winners across all lines. Assumption College product Bradley Deed just one of the Lions to stand up with a final spot up for grabs. Flamboyant midfielder Rowan Hiscock provided some valuable run through the lines for the Bears, kicking with penetration to set up the likes of rugged on-baller Ed Clark. Saad was his typically electrifying self, extending his season's tally to 89, but also providing numerous goal assists. Paul Colbert also kicking 5 majors. Despite taking a 43-point advantage into the last break, Bernie Haberman was far from satisfied with his team's performance.
Next contest, keep driving. Keep being accountable at the stoppages. Keep getting a man. Keep doing the right things. Keep setting up the zone quickly. That's what creates the pressure, doesn't it? It creates the pressure, yes?
Yeah, Seymour responded in style, going on to boot 11 last quarter goals to 2 and extending the margin out to 99 points by the final siren. Booking an elimination final appointment with Kai Abram.
We are the mighty Seymour. We are the good old Seymour Lions.
Chris McCarty starred in Rochester's defeat of Mooroopna, while Simon Hart booted 10 goals as Mansfield trounced Tatura. United finished the season on a high, Kai Abram eclipsed the Swans, and Andrew Doxey's 6 majors spearheaded Euroa's win over Echuca.